Welcome to my new video. Today we are talking about the reason why Canadians are not welcome in some countries. In 2025, Canadians continue to enjoy one of the most powerful passports globally, granting them visa-free or visa-on-arrival access to many countries. However, there are certain nations where Canadians face restrictions or are advised against traveling due to political tensions, security risks, or strained diplomatic relations. These challenges are often rooted in global conflicts, unstable governments, or specific policies targeting foreign nationals, including Canadians. Countries such as North Korea, Syria, and Afghanistan, for instance, are notorious for being largely inaccessible due to political isolation, ongoing wars, or safety concerns. In other cases, diplomatic disputes and stringent policies have made destinations like Iran less welcoming to Canadian travelers. Additionally, regions experiencing significant instability, such as Libya, Yemen, and Somalia, pose considerable risks, including crime, terrorism, or armed conflict. Meanwhile, some countries like Venezuela and Mali have advisories in place due to deteriorating political and security conditions. This video explores the top countries where Canadians are currently not welcome or face significant travel hurdles. If you found this information useful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel, Wanderlust Ventures, for more travel insights and updates to help you stay informed and travel safely. Let's begin from number 10. Number 10. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia's strained relationship with Canada began in 2018 when Canada criticized the kingdom's human rights record, particularly regarding the arrest of women's rights activists. Saudi Arabia viewed this as an unacceptable interference in its internal affairs. In response, it expelled the Canadian ambassador, froze new trade and investment, and instructed Saudi students and patients to leave Canada. The Saudi government emphasized sovereignty and rejected external criticism of its policies. While relations have improved slightly since then, tensions highlight broader challenges in balancing human rights advocacy with diplomatic relations. Number 9. Somalia. Somalia's internal conflict and terrorism risks make it unsafe. Canada advises against travel, but Somalis don't explicitly restrict Canadians. Diplomatic ties remain active despite instability. Somalia does not explicitly restrict Canadian travelers. However, the Canadian government advises against all travel to Somalia due to its extremely volatile security situation and high threat of domestic terrorism. This advisory is based on ongoing conflicts and instability within Somalia. Despite these challenges, Canada and Somalia maintain diplomatic relations, with Canada re-establishing ties in 2013 and appointing a new non-resident ambassador in 2023. Canadian citizens can obtain a visa on arrival in Somalia, typically valid for 30 days. Number 8. Libya. Libya does not explicitly restrict Canadian travelers. However, the Canadian government advises against all travel to Libya due to ongoing armed conflict, high risk of terrorist attacks, unpredictable political situations, and high crime rates. These advisories are based on the volatile security environment within Libya. Despite these challenges, Canada and Libya have maintained diplomatic relations since 1968, with Canada contributing over $54 million towards Libya's stabilization and support since 2011. Number 7. Russia. Canada advises against all travel to Russia due to the volatile security situation stemming from the conflict with Ukraine. This advisory is based on risks such as limited flight options and restrictions on financial transactions. Despite these tensions, Canada and Russia have maintained diplomatic relations since 1942. With Canada represented by an embassy in Moscow, Canadian citizens are required to obtain a visa prior to traveling to Russia. Number 6. Belarus. Belarus does not explicitly restrict Canadian travelers. However, the Canadian government advises against all travel to Belarus due to the risk of arbitrary enforcement of local laws and the ongoing armed conflict between Russia and Ukraine. The political situation in Belarus is fluid and unpredictable, with potential for security restrictions to be enforced without notice. Additionally, several countries, including Canada, advise their airlines to avoid Belarusian airspace due to serious safety and security concerns, which may limit air travel options. Despite these advisories, Canadian citizens can enter Belarus visa-free for stays up to 30 days, provided they arrive and depart via specific airports. Number 5. Yemen. Yemen does not explicitly restrict Canadian travelers. However, the Canadian government advises against all travel to Yemen due to ongoing armed conflict, terrorist attacks, and kidnapping risks. Canadians in Yemen are urged to leave if it's safe to do so. Additionally, Canadian citizens must obtain a visa prior to traveling to Yemen. Despite these challenges, Canada maintains limited bilateral relations with Yemen, supporting efforts to protect Yemen's recognized government and improve regional stability. Number 4. Afghanistan. Afghanistan also does not explicitly prohibit Canadian travelers. However, the Canadian strongly advises against all travel to Afghanistan due to the volatile security situation, terrorist attacks, ongoing armed conflict, risk of kidnapping, arbitrary arrest and detention, high crime rates, and widespread human rights violations by the de facto authorities. Canadians in Afghanistan are urged to leave immediately if it's safe to do so. Additionally, Canadian citizens must obtain a visa prior to traveling to Afghanistan. Number 3. Syria. Syria does not explicitly prohibit Canadian travelers. However, the Canadian government strongly advises against all travel to Syria due to ongoing armed conflict, terrorism, criminality, arbitrary detention, torture, and forced disappearance. The security situation is volatile, with extremist groups posing significant risks to foreigners. Canada's ability to provide consular assistance in Syria is extremely limited. Canadians in Syria are urged to leave if it's safe to do so. Additionally, Canadian citizens must obtain a visa prior to traveling to Syria. Number 2. North Korea. Canadian government strongly advises against all travel to North Korea due to the unpredictable security situation, risk of arbitrary enforcement of local laws, and limited consular assistance. Foreigners have been detained and in one instance shot for entering the country at unauthorized points. Canadians who also have South Korean citizenship must obtain approval from South Korean authorities for travel to North Korea. Canadian citizens are required to obtain a visa prior to entering North Korea. Number 1. Iran. Canadian government advises against all travel to Iran due to the volatile security situation, regional threat of terrorism, and risk of arbitrary detention. Canadian-Iranian dual citizens are particularly at risk and must enter and exit Iran using their Iranian passports. Additionally, Canadian citizens are required to obtain a visa prior to traveling to Iran and must be accompanied by an Iranian guide throughout their visit. Canada's consular assistance in Iran is limited, and travelers should exercise caution. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe my channel and hit the like button. Follow for more.